Hey everyone, welcome to Carys Garage, and on this episode, it's another memory lane. Let's keep looking at vehicles of my past. And this is Memory Lane episode 6. We're not going to check out anything super amazing compared to the last episode with the Atomic Energy Corvair, which was a pretty amazing vehicle. And on this episode, it's going to be kind of a quicker one because we're only going to look at two vehicles because I've been trying to maintain some chronological order of the vehicles I've owned over the years. And we're getting into another really amazing vehicle that was kind of a huge turning point for me in the automotive collecting world. And I have a ton of pictures and a big backstory on that car. So I don't want to show you these two vehicles and then bring that one in. So we're going to talk about that one next and probably just do it as a solo vehicle because there's a lot to cover it. So we're only going to cover the two vehicles today, and they're both Volkswagens. Because you have to remember, still at this time frame, still a big Volkswagen person, even though I was getting into Corvairs. But after these two vehicles, I transitioned to even into a very much more of a different kind of a vehicle, which I'm super excited to show you guys, which huge love of my life. So we'll get into it. The first one we have is this vehicle right here, and this is exactly how I got it. Mismatched color, disgusting, everything. It actually had spray painted on the door called Paint Me Red, but it was multiple colors. But this was a 1960 Volkswagen single cab bus, transporter truck, whatever you want to call it. I only had one of the tailgates, and then these next pictures, I ended up spray painting the entire truck with just several rattle cans of like a Krylon brown primer or whatever primer I got at Home Depot at the time. I found this truck locally. It was actually a friend of mine had it sitting on his property. He had a bunch of Volkswagens, and I really love split window buses and old VW buses, and I was able to get a really good deal on this truck. The dashboard, the radio grill was all cut out, and it was pretty thrash. But this was still of the era where you could buy cheap Volkswagens. I did not spend a lot of money for this truck. Nowadays, oh my God, I wouldn't even want to think of what something, even in this condition, would sell for. Didn't have an engine, did have a transmission. I never got it running. It was, again, of this era that I had way too many cars, way too many projects. And it just was, I bought it because it was cool. I had big hopes for it, but I got sidetracked and, total ADD, car syndrome. And actually, if you look at the picture of the nose of it right behind it, you can see the background of another bus. That was a 64 split window that we had picked up. It was a panel van that was a sundial camper conversion, and we ended up actually just cutting it up. I mean, nowadays, that bus would be very restorable, and somebody definitely would have restored it. But again, this was of the era that buses were not super expensive. The deluxes, the center buses were pretty pricey, but some of them, they weren't that bad. That's why I had bought a bunch of them. And then the next vehicle was one that I got from a good friend of mine, and another one that was big hopes, big projects kind of a thing. This was a 1986 Volkswagen Vanagon passenger bus. Really nothing special about it. He gave it to me for free. He just said, just take it. Here's the title. And what I had planned on doing with this van was I found a guy that had the entire conversion kit to convert it to a diesel. So the 82, 83 diesel. Might have been even later European diesel stuff. And then I went to the junkyard and found a 1985 Jetta with a hydraulic head and a good 1.6 diesel. And I was going to fully convert this. I had picked up a Riviera camper conversion for it. So it had the entire camper conversion, which you can see in some of these pictures. And I was going to turn it into a really nice 1.6 naturally aspirated diesel Vanagon camper. And it would have been really cool. But again, sidetracked, automotive ADD, big issues with, buying too many cars, too many things. And I ended up deciding to just sell the shell and the interior. And I kept the engine, which is going to be for another vehicle that I picked up a little bit later, which was really cool. I got some fun stories about that one that I ended up putting that engine into. But, it was one of those, these are a couple of the vehicles that unfortunately were the demise of, I had too many cars, not enough time. And, this was the point I was buying cars like every month or a couple of months. And, I was getting up close to way too many cars at one time. But those are a couple more vehicles from my past. Next episode, we're going to show you a really, really cool vehicle that I really loved. I regret selling every day. Amazing backstory, incredible history, and kind of really started to define a huge point in my automotive collecting world. And also a big point of a lot of my friends that I consider my family. So that'll do it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, like the video, share it with your friends, leave any comments down below, and catch you guys in the next video.